Hi everyone, it is Saturday at the Bead Gallery and we're in Honolulu, Hawaii. It is towards the end of summer. The weather is beautiful. Maybe we should attempt to do some of these classes outside. That would be super awesome. And we have Michelle today who is going to be doing the pearl bezel. So I'm going to toot over so you can say hi to Michelle, everybody.
Hey everybody, welcome to our channel. Today I'm going to show you how to do a pearl bezel around not even a pearl bezel because I'm not going to use a pearl this time, but it's going to be a bezel around a stone that's kind of flat like a coin. It's got a hole going all the way through and we're just going to jazz it up a little with this decorative gallery wire here. And so by making it fancier or jazzing it up, it's more like making your piece look like this. Okay. So let's get started. I'm going to be using gallery wire here. This is a fancy kind of wire that's been punched out of sheet, and it has teeth on both edges that you see here. There is a front and a back to the wire, which I'll show you when we get to the more close-up setup here. But just know that there is a right side and a wrong side to the gallery wire. And then I'm going to be using some half-hard wire here. This is 21 gauge half-hard wire. You want to use something on the sturdier side if your bead is going to be on the bigger side like this. Okay. And you want to use half hard so it holds its shape when you make your wire wrap loops, because that's pretty much what we're going to do. We're going to make wire wrap loops to hold the wire, the gallery wire, around the edge of the bead. Okay. And then that's pretty much all you need. Bead, gallery wire, wire. I'm going to make a link type of component, so there'll be a loop on either side of my bead, instead of a pendant type component like this one where I used a head pin at the bottom. So you can, if you want to make a pendant, then you do need a head pin, you know, something like this. So a head pin is a piece of wire that has like a little something on the bottom to keep the beads from falling off. So you definitely can do this project with a head pin and make a pendant instead. Okay, but I'm going to do a link just because. Okay, so the first thing we're going to do is I'm going to scoot over this way and we're going to switch to the different view so you can see everything a little bit closer. Here we go. Okay. So the tools I'm going to be using today are just basic wire wrap tools. So I have a chain nose plier. It's blurry. Chain nose plier. So it's pointy on the tip with a very smooth flat jaw.
Go all the way down.
There you go. And I got it. Okay. Then I'm going to use a round nose plier here, so it's got round jaws so I can make loops. I'm going to also probably use a flat nose plier, so it's flat jaws on the inside, smooth and squared off tips. And of course a wire cutter. This is a flush cutter. This one cuts up to 16 gauge wire, which is nice, but we're only going to use 21 gauge in this case. Okay, and normally for like smaller beads and stuff, we use maybe 24 or 22 gauge wire, especially if you're using pearls because they tend to have smaller holes. But this moonstone that I have here has a pretty giant hole, so I'm going to use a little bit of a thicker wire. And you see I have a little clippy hanging off the end of my wire here, and that's basically, you'll see why I put it on there in a little bit. It's to keep my bead from sliding off as I work with it. Okay, so it's just a handy little bead stopper that we like to use. Okay, so for the gallery wire, Let's see if I can bring it up and make it so you can see it better. Here we go. You can see that it's pretty much a piece of wire or something wide, like a ribbon, but it's like a metal ribbon that's been punched out of a silver sheet. This is sterling silver. And when it's been punched out of a sheet, it has a decorative texture on it. And when you look at the underside or the wrong side, you'll see that the impressions are concave, so it's like dipped in like that. That's the way you know that that's the wrong side, because the correct side is the puffed out side, the convex side, or the side that you can see better patterning, and the patterning is raised. Okay, so you want this correct side or the raised side to be on the outside edge of your bead, and the concave side of the wire or the dipped in side is what's touching your bead. Okay. So it helps to start with kind of a long piece. Like, it doesn't have to be, this is 1 foot. It doesn't have to be a foot, but I don't want to cut too much right away, because the more times you cut the wire, the more wire you waste. That's a tip. Don't cut the wire so much if you don't have to, because then you waste less. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to feed my 21 gauge wire, or the wire that's going to go through the bead, through the first hole of the gallery wire. Okay, there's like, if the tip of the gallery wire is pokey or sharp, or there is no hole because it got sliced in the middle, then you want to trim to the next full hole. Okay, so it has to be a usable puka in the gallery wire, not one that's been cut into. Okay, so we're gonna go from the raised side of the gallery wire to the convex side here, to the inside. Then I'm gonna string on my bead, like so. And I'm going to roughly size it, and sometimes it helps to have a Sharpie marker or something. And you're just going to want to get a rough idea of where you're going to have to push the wire through next. Now this one, oh, it looks like it goes between 2 holes, so we're going to have to choose the slightly bigger one, the one that's slightly past the wire, like that. So I'm going to mark that wire right there, and I know I'm going to have to aim my wire that's exiting through the bead through that hole. Okay. So sometimes it helps to just kind of bend the wire at the tip like this, so you can aim it more accurately through the correct space in the gallery wire. Okay, so we're just going to bend it a little and push it through. Okay, that's the space I was aiming for, and you want it to be fairly fitted, okay, around the wire. Around the bead. Okay, then you're going to move all the way around like this. And then we're going to, again, mark the wire where we want to have it exit on this side. Okay, so I think I'm going to go through this hole right here. Okay. So I'm going to move my bead stopper to this end, like that. And then I'm going to straighten this out and just bend the wire so I can aim it through that hole that's marked with the Sharpie right there. I want to go through that hole. So, kind of poke it through. It's easier to bring the wire to the desired space rather than trying to wrap the wire around and aim towards the tip. Okay, so it helps to open up your wire a little bit and bend the wire that's going through the bead to meet that opening. So now the stone is somewhat wrapped up in the bezel wire. I think it's looking pretty good. Okay, I'm gonna make a loop on one side so then I can have it sort of starting to lock everything in place. So I'm just gonna do a basic wire wrap. So when you do a basic wire wrap, we have a video for this on this channel right here. It's one of our most popular basic instructional videos. It's called Basic Wire Wrap. So I'm going to do a basic wire wrap loop here. Please feel free to watch it several times if you need a refresher on the technique. Around because I don't like my loops being so far away from my bead. I usually only just do one coil like that. So it's a complete coil, so it's closed, my loop. It's just that there isn't a whole stick of coils between my loop and the bead. Okay. So I have my wire wrap loop here. Then I'm going to move this down here like this. Okay, and then it would help to kind of cut away this excess silver. So I'm just going to bend it up and get in there and trim away the excess wire, gallery wire here. Let me make some space. I have my flush cutter and I just trim that away. If you want to clean it up a little bit, you can. Just trimming away the sharp parts. Okay, and then I'm going to wire wrap this side and then my bead will be stuck, framed inside the gallery wire, which is what we want. And then if you want your two loops to face the same way, just make sure you're paying attention to which way your first loop is facing. Then I'm going to just make my second loop. And then we're almost done.
Wow.
Yep.
You are a pro.
Yeah. I think the trickiest thing is fitting it properly so that it's you know, not too loose. That I really don't like. So I made this one like super tight. Hopefully it will be okay. I think it'll be fine. Okay. I'm gonna wrap that shut. So I just did a basic wire wrap loop on this side. Okay. And now I have a piece of gallery wire that is framing my stone, but the stone isn't sitting nicely. It wants to spin. And it wants to spin because it's just in this frame here and there's nothing to hold it down or stationary. So what you do is use these little teeth or the edges of the gallery wire to hold the stone in place. We're gonna wrap each prong or each tooth around the, we're going to press it around the edge of the bead. And you want to do pretty much all of them. You don't want them sticking out because they're kind of pokey. So we're going to do each and every one of these little teeth. So probably the easiest thing to do would be to gently squeeze it. I'm going to use my flat nose plier and gently squeeze the top and bottom, but it's not a 90-degree motion. It's kind of at an angle. Go at an angle and don't squeeze it all the way down, just a little, like gradually. Okay, and then I'm going to skip a couple of teeth and then I'm going to do the next one. I'm going to skip a couple of teeth and do the next one like this. Okay, we're eventually going to do them all, but we kind of want to get the bead held in place right away, so we're going to just space out which teeth we press down. And then we're going to get to all of them once we know that it's not going to flip out of the frame. Okay, so starting to look like that. Then now we're going to do more and keep going around. This. Now this part can take a while because there's lots of teeth you have to push down. Okay, we also have this gallery wire available in brass, which if you want to just practice the technique, it's a very good starter material. And we have it in gold fill if you want like a super deluxe frame around a really nice bead. Okay, and I'm not squeezing the bead, I'm just pushing the prongs down with the flat nose plier. Okay, you don't want to break your bead or chip it or anything. There we go, I'm going to flip it over. We'll do that. If you want to get closer, then you'll have to use your chain nose pliers. Okay, and I'm kind of flipping it back and forth so it's kind of you're kind of evenly squeezing the prongs on both the front and the back of your piece. Okay. So now I moved in with the chain nose pliers because they are more accurate at squeezing. And it's more about pushing each tooth against the bead now. Okay. The flat nose pliers was just to get started. The chain nose pliers is for touch-ups and finishing. And now I'm starting to work my way more evenly around the edge of the bead. So now I'm pushing pretty much each prong. Does anybody have any questions so far?
Yes. I have
Yes. What is the question?
You could repeat it. The question is, how would you add a bail to an undrilled stone?
Oh, we've done that before.
Repeat the question.
Oh, the question was, how would you add a bail to an undrilled stone? It's a little bit trickier to do, but we have done it before. So if you see in our samples here, this is a bead, so it had a hole. This is a bead, so it had a hole. These two were undrilled stones. Okay, so what we did is we actually made the wire meet at the top, and we used a very fine wire to bind the two edges of the gallery wire together. And in the same space, we stuck a jump ring through. So there's a jump ring here stuck between the gallery wire and the cabochon or the undrilled bead. Okay, in this case, I think we did this mostly because there was a little bit of extra space and it fit, so we just jammed that puppy right in there. This one, this cabochon, there was space. There was like, the gallery wire didn't touch exactly, but we used a fine wire to bind together, and then we created a skinny, like a loop with the thin wire by going through it several times and then wrapping wire around, and that resulted in a space that we could put a bail. Okay, so it's mostly the bail or the jump ring is attached in spaces created by fine wire that we use to bind the edges of the gallery wire together. Okay. And that could be, if you want to see that technique up close, we can shoot that one as a different YouTube live video, because that's a slightly harder technique to do than something that already has a hole. This is the basic bezel. These are a little bit harder. It's harder because you really have to pull the two ends of the wire together really securely, and so you need a little bit more hand strength and dexterity as well to get that really tight and really so that it's secure, so that your stone doesn't fall out. Okay, so I think I'm just about done squishing all my teeth down. Let me see. Not quite. I hope that answered your question. Yeah.
While you're pushing it down, can you tell everybody about the pre-recorded video we did of the same technique, but where you did it on the rounded Tahitian pearl? I'm going to add that link so they can watch it.
Okay. So we did a pre-recorded video of this sample right here. There we go. So you don't only have to do decorative bezel wire around flat things. Okay, so you don't have to do this technique around just flat coin-shaped things, although I think it looks really nice like that. You can actually embellish round beads as well. So we shot this as a video that will be available on our YouTube channel shortly.
Oh, it's been there since January.
Well, that's been there since January, so you can go check it out after this live.
We've done hundreds of
I can't
videos.
keep track of all the videos that we do. So yeah, you can use it to embellish a bead like this. I'm gonna go over this way. There we go. Okay, and it just adds a really nice extra element, you know, like a bead cap or like spacers, you know, as accents. This is an accent that actually wraps around the whole bead, which looks really, really cool. Okay, and again, we do have this wire available in sterling silver, gold fill, and brass. Brass if you want to just practice, because economically, it's the most forgiving. Okay, so I think I am just about done with this. Let me check one more time all my little prongs.
Cindy DD gives you a shout out to say beautiful.
Hi, Cindy. Thank you.
Amy says pretty.
Okay, so yeah, you just want to make sure that all the teeth are kind of wrapped securely around the stone so it doesn't like pop out and start to spin around. Okay, and you know you're done when you're squeezing and you can't find any more prongs to move, which is almost now. Almost. Anybody have any other questions?
No, I think you do it so clearly.
Okay. Well, the nice thing about using the sterling silver wire is that you can darken the wire and then polish it up to really bring out the beautiful patterns on the wire itself. If you look at it, there's just so much detail in the metal that I do highly recommend, you know, antiquing it. You can use liver of sulfur, or you can use a boiled egg technique and just make the silver all black, and then you'll polish it off with either a steel brush, brass brush, or polishing cloth. And then when you do, the awesome textures, the awesome textures on the wire are really highlighted really nicely, and it looks super fancy.
We have a
Super
newest
fancy.
video that came out on antiquing with eggs as well on our channel.
Yeah. So that is something good to check out, is the antiquing using just an egg video. That's one of our newest ones on this channel. Okay, so I guess I would say that's about it for this technique. I hope that you found it enjoyable, and I hope that you'll try it out someday, because it is actually really fun, and it really takes a piece that can be very simple and plain, you know, where if you just had, oops, coming. So this technique can take a piece of bead that's really simple and plain and kind of boring. See, it's just smooth, to something that has like a lot more character. So it's like a very deluxe piece that you can see where it has like, there's like a nice elegance to it, and it looks like there was a lot more work done. Yeah, there you go. So it's nice because it really cuts into how smooth and rounded the edge of that bead is. So with all the little teeth and texture, so it adds definitely a different element, an added element to the design, which I think is really cool. So I hope that you guys will start to play with this really fun material. which we have available in sterling silver, gold fill, and brass. Yep. And all you need to know is basic wire wrap, so it's a very easy technique to do. So I hope you'll try it. Are we just about done for this show?
So you can say bye to all your friends who showed up.
Thank you so much for watching my live today. If you if you want to go back and watch it again, it will still be available for at least a little while. So yeah, definitely let us know if you want any of the supplies. We'll be happy to help you with that too, okay?
So shout outs. Bye, Renee. Thank you, Amy. Thank you, Pauline. Thanks, Cindy. Michelle will be back. Oh, let's give them a preview of what some of the things we're thinking about doing, and if there's any comments on what they'd love to see, so then we can kind of build up momentum of what people want to make. We're going to be doing the glitzy glam disco dots.
Yeah, we're going to do the disco dots. And then what else do we have?
God,
we have some basic techniques
yeah,
too.
if there's anything they want to see, you just got to let us know. All right, so here's Michelle to say goodbye.
Okay, so thanks for watching me today. Don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel if you enjoyed this live, and if you want to be notified the next time we come on, please hit the bell that's next to the subscribe button, and you will be notified every time.
Oh, I'm reading our sign. So
You'll be notified every time we come on, so you can live, love, and create with us, okay? Thanks so much for watching. Aloha.